down on the ground and put your hands behind your back.
I'm just from marketing.
Now!
Okay.
Hey man, it's Milo and this is Down Underground.
That's how they get you. They're under the goddamn ground.
Yo, this is Milo, how's it going? Hope everyone's doing okay, hope everyone's feeling good. So this is Down Underground podcast episode number 2. The podcast in Australia that focuses on underground musicians and speaks to underground musicians and gets to know a little bit more about the talent that we have down here. Thanks for everyone that's tuned in to episode number 1 so far. Looks like, mostly positive results, pretty much 100%. Really appreciate that. And if you enjoy the episodes, make sure that you follow me on SoundCloud. Follow the podcast on SoundCloud, follow it on Facebook as well, and YouTube. We out here, like I said, man. So yeah, episode 2, today I'm joined by Thrillboy, Sydney beatmaker and producer. He's starting to see a lot of results come through from his hard work on social media and YouTube, most notably fostering a YouTube channel, which in a short span of time is starting to see a lot of activity. And he's getting work with international artists and so on. So we listen to a little bit of Thrillboy's music. We hear a song from Slim Jesus, produced by Thrillboy. Very interesting. I wasn't expecting that. It came up during the podcast, so that was really cool. We learn a little bit more about Thrillboy, his work ethic, and all the rest of it. So yeah, thanks again, and here's the episode. Yo, it's your boy Milo, and today I'm joined by Thrillboy. So thank you so much for joining me today, dude. How's it going?
Yeah, good, man. Good, just chilling. Thanks for having me on the show, man.
Yeah, no worries, dude. So where are you doing your thing, man? You're based in Melbourne, right?
Oh, no, Sydney.
Oh, you're in
Sydney.
Sydney. You're in Sydney.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm actually from the west. I'm out at Granville, so around those kind of areas like Granville, Parramatta, the west of Sydney.
Okay, cool. And what? So you Sydney lad, like born here, or?
Yeah. Born and raised in Sydney. I grew up in Ryde, like around Ryde, Eastwood, that kind of area, and then to be honest, I've pretty much been raised by a single mum, and prices were getting too expensive in Ryde, so we had to move out to the west.
Right,
it's a lot more cheaper. So yeah, I pretty much grew up in the west. Like pretty much when I became a teenager, that's when I was living here.
Okay, well look, so Thrillboy, Damien, you're a producer, dude. You're a beat maker. How did you sort of start getting? Actually, let's take it back to the beginning. What are your main influences? How did you get into music?
How it all started for me was I was actually really into house growing up. I started listening to house music by the age of 3, and that was thanks to my dad. He was very heavily into like deep house and all the house music.
Right.
And,
I've got a soft spot for house and like electro as well, man. Like same with my parents. When I was young, I started listening to it sort of really early as well. So I hear where you're coming from, man.
Oh, no way. Yeah. Well, that's how I kind of got my first taste of music. Was my dad was really heavily into the house scene, and growing up, I've never come from a musical family, but I kind of was always around listening to that kind of music.
Right.
And I had an interest for music at a young age, but I also always had an interest in doing acting and shit because I always liked making people laugh.
Okay, yeah, right.
So as I was growing up, early teens, I was trying to make something in acting, and I was still listening to house music. And then my best friend, Jordan, I've been best friends with him since the beginning of high school. He put me onto Biggie Smalls, and he's like, "Oh, listen to this." And I was never really into rap. I was like, "I'm not really into this kind of stuff, man." And he's like, "No, trust me, listen." So I listened to Biggie, and I was like, "Fuck, I really like this. Like this hip hop stuff's really cool." And just from there, man, it evolved, and I heavily fell in love with hip hop. And then when I got put onto the trap shit, which I came across myself, the first trap rapper I listened to was Waka Flocka.
Right, cool.
And then when I listened to him, I was like, nah, there's no going back now. Like I lost all my interest for hip hop. I was like, fuck this. I really like trap.
Okay.
And from there on, yeah, man, I just really was interested in trap. And I used to write lyrics as when I was around 15, but I didn't really ever take it seriously. It was kind of just experimenting with like writing rhymes and shit like that. And so from there on, I had an interest in rap, and then I wanted to make beats when I was younger, but I never had the drive or the hunger for it.
Right.
And what kind of triggered me to make beats was I was dating a girl, and that ended. And not going to lie, I was feeling pretty shit. So it was by fluke. I was on YouTube one day and it said how to make trap beats with FL Studio. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go in and watch this. And I instantly fell in love. Like when I was trying and I was practicing, I was like, fuck, this is so fun. And instantly fell in love, and it's become my life, man. Like I want to pursue a career in this.
So like you never had an interest in hip hop? Like did you sort of dislike hip hop before Biggie came around? Like
no, not I was always very open ears, man. Like I know you're a big fan of him. Honestly, man, I go from Biggie Smalls to fucking Lil B. Like my taste is, honestly, man, I'm not too fussed with lyrics these days. Like, I just like stuff that goes hard.
Right.
Like, if Lil B goes berserk, I'll like it. Like, I don't know. It might be my producer ear. I always focus more on the flow of the song and the vibe the song's kind of giving and the beat of the song.
Right.
Like, I don't care if there's so much talking about their life or if they're just talking utter shit. I just like the vibe and what they're trying to do with the song, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, man. I hear what you're saying, but like, I guess I guess you didn't dislike hip hop, but like, what was it about Biggie that sort of made you come around, man?
It was because it was different at the time. Like when I came, because I was growing up listening to house music, and then I just heard Biggie with like crazy lyrics and like the beats he was on and this West Coast. See, because he was an East Coast rapper, he would sometimes rap on West Coast beats, like going back to Cali and stuff like that. And I was like, "Fuck, this goes hard."
And did he give you like a different impression of hip hop to what you had like before Biggie?
No, that's the thing. Like even before even before I listened to hip hop, I never disliked it. It was just I was never really shown what hip hop was.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Right.
Like I said, my family was very involved with house music, so I didn't so much know what hip hop kind of was. And Biggie was kind of the start, and then I started listening to like 50 Cent, Akon, like all these different artists, man, and I just fell in love. And to be honest with you, I haven't really listened to house since that day.
So, how old were you when you sort of started getting into making beats? Like, when did that come around?
Honestly, man, I've only been making beats for a year.
Okay.
This is so it's been exactly a year now. So I'm 20 now. I had an interest, like I said, I had an interest with it when I was 15, but I never had the push to kind of want to do it. And I saw tutorials, downloaded FL, and I'm like, this is too fucking hard. And I just gave up. And then the real push for me was like I said, like I broke up with my girlfriend, and then I was just sitting there like, fuck, what do I do? I need to pick up like a hobby or something just to get my mind off it.
Right.
And then it was just by fluke, man, that I saw on YouTube how to make trap beats, and then I looked at the tutorial, and I think it was the hunger that I got back from the relationship that went sour. I think that hunger made me want to learn. Like it was kind of a push. It was like, yeah, I'm going to sit down and buckle down and learn how to do this. And that's what really pushed me, man. And like I said, like even though my beats were fucking whack when I started, I was so hungry to keep learning and just push on and keep going. And I fell in love with it instantly, man.
That reminds me of like when I first started getting into like producing beats and shit like that. Like I started out in FL Studio as well, man, and I still use it today.
Yeah, it's dope. It's really easy. It's user friendly, man. It's really easy to use.
I agree, man. But like I've got some friends that use like Ableton, and they started with FL, and like they say, like they prefer the workflow in Ableton. They find things in FL too complicated.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. So maybe just different strokes or whatever. But like, something that you said earlier, I really relate to as well. Like when I first opened up FL Studio for the first time, like it was so daunting, man. I didn't know what the fuck I was looking at.
Oh, bro, it looks like you're in a fucking space shuttle. You're like, what the fuck do I do?
Yeah,
like that's how it feels.
And like at the time that I was like first getting into FL Studio, like I was still like on dial-up internet, man. Like it was crazy shit. So like it's not like I was really like just jumping on YouTube and checking out tutorials and shit.
So you would have had to learn shit like all yourself.
and like reading forums, man, and like back in the day, like reading a lot of like online forums and shit, like you'd get a lot of different information, and some of it was like completely wrong, and some of it was so super technical that like I just didn't know where to begin. So it took me a really long time of like sort of turning away and going back and taking tiny baby steps to get into FL Studio.
Oh fuck! So you would have started when it was like on FL3, probably even like FL1.
I think it was about FL3, maybe 4 was my first version that I came in with, something like that.
Fuck! You've been here. You've been at the beginning, man.
Well,
of when FL pretty much.
But like in those first few years, man, I really didn't make much of it at all. Like I originally downloaded it because I wanted to make like speedcore.
Oh, okay. Is that like speedcore's like gabber and shit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like hardcore techno.
I went through my phase of hardstyle and like speedcore and shit. That's how I know it, like Anger Fist and all those guys.
Shit like that. So I wanted to make some shit like that, and like so I eventually, like after a long time bashing my head against like FL Studio, figured out how to sort of just get by making that kind of stuff like at the bare essentials. But then I put it away, and it wasn't till years later I came back and thought I'm going to give this another go, and like that's when I was inspired to make some regular house music, and that's when it sort of took off, and that was back in like a modern sort of internet age where I could look things up on YouTube, and it really took off from there for me.
That's dope, and that's kind of what made you fall in love with FL. You're like, yeah, this goes hard, this is fun.
Can you remember how like exciting FL Studio was when you first used it, man? It's like there was just so many things that you didn't know about, and like everything was just like new, and everything was crazy. Like that's how I felt when I first started like using it, to me,
Yeah, that's the thing that makes you fall in love with it, man. Like even at the beginning, like when your shit's whack, you still feel so good because you're like, oh fuck, I've made this.
Right.
And then that's how I kind of felt, and that's what. The best way to describe it, man, is when someone goes to the gym, right? They're going to keep going because they look in the mirror and see results. They're like, oh, fuck, I'm getting bigger, so I'm looking better. I want to keep going. That's how I kind of was with FL, and that it kind of became my outlet. Like, I was like, this is, like, I kept seeing myself progress, and even still to this day, I'm progressing and learning. And not just with beats, man. Like I'm learning music in general, music theory, instruments. I'm interested in learning how to play the drums, the piano, like all like beats aside, like just everything. I've all of a sudden just fallen in love with music in general, and wanting to learn how to play instruments, and yeah.
Okay, that's cool, man. So have you picked up a couple instruments? What are you looking at?
Well, at the moment I'm just fucking around with the piano, but that's kind of like self-taught. So like I know scales, I know some chords, the bare basics of piano, but I want to start actually getting lessons and take piano seriously, because man, when you know how to play the piano, you've got melodies on lock. You can just do melodies for days when you know how to transfer what's in your head onto the piano.
Exactly, and like I think, it sounds like you've probably found yourself, like, you might not necessarily need to know exactly how to play an instrument to transcribe those melodies, like, because if you can't necessarily, like, if you're not like a piano fucking maestro right now kind of thing, but you're still getting your melodies out there on the beats, like, I think that's the hardest thing, and a lot of people that are trying to get into producing and making music, the hardest thing for them is to visualize in their mind and then get that out onto their workspace. You know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly. That's a lot of things that that's what I've heard from a lot of producers that I've come across is they go, I've got a melody in my head, but I can't put it on FL. Whereas I'm different. Like I don't walk around like, or when I'm in the shower and shit and I think of melodies, like it's weird because when I'm on FL and I hear a sound I like, that's when I'll get the melody in my head. Like it's just crazy how producers are different. Like some people are walking like in the shops or whatever and they go, oh, I've got a melody in my head. I'm different. Like I only get melodies in my head when it's a sound that I really like and I'm like, yeah, I can make a cool melody out of this.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because I'm like what you just described. Like I could be at work or walking around or doing anything on the bus, and like a melody will come to my brain like randomly. And like, yeah, I guess there are times like I can understand what you're saying. There's times when I've heard like a sound and like I've thought, oh wow, that's like such a spacey lead that I need to do like some fucking obvious like 1950s black and white space film sound, that kind of shit in like a trap beat, you know what I'm saying? Like, so
yeah.
I hear what you're saying, but like I guess the majority of like my songwriting ideas sort of come spontaneously, like you said.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. I don't know, man. Maybe the more musical experience I get and when I start picking up instruments, maybe that will start happening to me. I don't know. It's just always weird. Like, I feel like the black sheep. Like all these guys are like, yeah, I got melodies in my head. And I'm like, dude, I don't have any fucking melodies in my head. Like, I have to hear the sound to come up with something. And I'm thinking, fuck, is there something wrong with me? Or am I just extremely different?
People like definitely interpret music way differently, like from musicians to non-musicians, and then like between musicians, they're so different. Like I've listened to a couple of shows like podcasts and shit that were talking about like one in particular that was really interesting was one that was talking about a case, I guess it's a condition that some people have, or a class that some people, a spectrum that some people fit on musically. It's called amusia, and like it's where they can't sort of interpret the emotion and the intention behind regular music or any music at all.
Shit.
And the thing is, like, the more that they try to relate to it, like in clinical studies, they wanted to test these people with amusia that like react inappropriately to music. And so they were trying to test them and sort of train them to respond appropriately. And like the more that they were trained and the more that these people tried, the less appropriately they reacted to the like musical cues.
Fuck.
So people really different, man. Like, yeah, I don't know, man, you can take that as you, I mean, with a grain of salt or whatever, but like, fuck yeah, it's weird shit, man. Like, people are really different, the way they come out with their sort of songwriting ideas and the way they listen to music and stuff. I've got a friend that says that, like, he says that he can't focus on the lyrics of the song and the beat of the song at the same time. And if he's focusing on the beat and really getting into it and just like riding along to the beat, he, like, if you asked him what the MC had said, he wouldn't be able to tell you.
Yeah, that's scary that you've actually just brought that up, because that's exactly me. Like, I either have to focus on the beat or the lyrics. Like, and but I don't know if that's a producer ear, because almost all my life, when it comes to beats and like rhythm and music, and like even when I was listening to house music, I've always interpreted stuff to a different level. Like when there's like a sound, like I remember when I was like 4 years old and there was a sound in a house track, I'd be like to my dad, I'll be like, Dad, that really stood out. I really like that sound that's coming up. And like the way I've always interpreted music is weird, and it's always the actual beat. Like I've heard lyrics and I've focused on the lyrics before, but that's scary that you've said that, because that's actually what I'm like as well.
Right.
With interpreting music is I'm either concentrating on the beat or I'm concentrating on the lyrics. I can't really listen to both.
Okay. Yeah.
At the same time.
It's just interesting how people, process things, I guess. I guess like you've been doing your thing in FL Studio for maybe like around a year, a bit over a year now, and yeah.
It's a little bit more than a year, maybe a year and a month or something. Yeah, so around a year.
Okay, cool. And I guess beat-wise, was Biggie the main inspiration to sort of? Well, I mean, obviously you've just said that it was. I guess the relationship coming to an end was the main inspiration, but musically, like what inspires you musically?
Musically, so. Obviously, yeah. Well, Biggie was the start of hip hop, and as it progressed, I moved on to other things. But what really kind of made me want to make beats, like I'm a big fan of Juicy J and like the 3-6 Mafia and that kind of stuff. And I kept hearing, when I was like first listening to trap, I kept hearing this rise sound, and I kept hearing in these beats, like these hard fucking beats, I kept hearing this like this rise sound, and I'm like, who is this? I'm like, who is this producer that does that? His beats go fucking hard.
Yeah.
And then it said produced by Lex Luger, so I really looked into Lex Luger on YouTube, and I was listening to all his beats, and I was so blown away by his sound, and I was so like, I was like, I've never heard any producer like this in my life. I'm like, this guy's insane. And he was kind of, if you wanted to say an inspiration for my music, he was kind of the inspiration where I was like, fuck, I want to make beats. And even though me and him are doing, even though Lex is a complete different style to what I'm doing, he was kind of the start that made me want to make beats. And I wanted the hard 808s and the hard hitting snares. And he was the kind of the push that made me want to make like trap beats. And then as I went on, I started hearing wavy shit, like wavy kind of samples and like real spacey kind of stuff, and like bubblegum trap, and you know, I came across artists like Lil Yachty and all that whole new wave sound, and I was saying, like, I heard the new wave stuff and the wavy stuff, and I'm like, fuck, this sounds really nice. And that's why my beats now, they're kind of like wavy and spacey, and it's like that new wave kind of sound.
Who do you like of the new rappers? Like, I guess Lil Yachty and like
all of them, man.
You like all of them?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of all of them. Lil Yachty, Ugly God's fucking hilarious. Have you seen him?
Ugly God's dope, man. Yeah, he's the mad guy.
Yeah, he's dope. Yeah, Ugly God, I'm a big fan of Ugly God.
I've been listening to Famous Dex lately, man. Like,
yeah,
I
he's
can,
dope.
I really like his style, man. Super high energy.
Yeah, that's man, I'm a big fan. That's what I see myself as. Like, I see myself as the new wave kind of movement, even though I'm still very underground and I've still got a long way to go, man. I feel that I'm going to be part of that new wave movement. Like, that, like I said, the old school was the stuff that got me into rap and then trap, and then now I'm making beats like that I would love to hear, like Yachty, Ugly God, Famous Dex, Over, and Uzi Vert. So I'm a big fan of all those kind of guys.
Gang, 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 gang. That's why I don't give a fuck. Tee the fuck up, man. I got lean in my cup. Pull up on the scene, fuck your bitch. Bad bitch tryna fuck. Couple bands in my pocket, motherfucker. That's why I don't give a fuck. And I got lean in my cup. I got gas in my blunt, I got lean in my cup. Bad bitch tryna fuck. I got gas in my blunt, I got lean in my cup. Bad bitch tryna fuck. That's why I don't give a fuck. I got gas in my blunt, I got lean in my cup. Bad bitch tryna fuck. That's why I don't give a fuck. I got gas in my blunt, swisher full of OG. I got loud in a bag, little homie, what you need? I be getting to the bands, bitch, I'm bout my currency. Make a band off a jug every time my phone ring. If a fuckboy tryna rob, tell that fuckboy come and see. Keep a 9 on my side, run up wrong, let it sing. Your girl call my phone, say she wanna fuck with me. Tell that bitch, give me top, she don't get shit for free. I don't get paid for these hoes, spend a couple bands on me. Now I'm flexing like a god while I'm smoking on OG. I got gas in my blunt, I got lean in my cup. Bad bitch tryna fuck, that's why I don't give a fuck. I got gas in my blunt, I got lean in my cup. Bad bitch tryna fuck, that's why I don't give a fuck. I got lean in my cup, drop a 4 in a crush. I ain't sipping if it's clean, double cup full of mud. Off the drugs all day, I don't really give a fuck. If you really tryna rob, fuckboy, run up, try your luck. Bad bitch say she smoke, so I let her hit the gas. Smoking dope, sipping, leaning, bitch, you know I'm counting cash. Last time I hit the mall, dropped a band on some tags, and now I'm fly as fuck like it's the first day of class. with me, cause I'm ballin' off the court. I got gas in my blunt, I got lean in my cup. Bad bitch tryna fuck, that's why I don't give a fuck. I got gas in my blunt, I got lean in my cup. Bad bitch tryna fuck, that's why I don't give a fuck. That's why I fucked your bitch, little bitch. And tell your bitch to roll my blunt, bitch.
I got gas in my blood, I got lean in my cup. Bad bitch tryna fuck, that's why I don't give a fuck. I got gas in my blood, I got lean in my cup. Bad bitch tryna fuck, that's why I don't give a fuck. I got lean in my cup, bad bitch tryna fuck. I don't give a fuck. Gas in my blood, lean in my cup.
So, like, I guess you've started a YouTube channel, and that's, I guess, your main avenue of promotion, or?
Yeah, so actually what happened was I produced for Slim Jesus within 6 months of making beats. And what I was doing when I was starting off, and I regret it, man, was I was sending fucking whack beats to all these rappers. And Slim Jesus, I happened to get his beat email, so I'm like, fuck it, why not? You know, like I actually fuck with Slim Jesus. He's pretty dope, man. Like I find him dope, like that you know, he's not about that life, and he's like still doing his thing. Like,
yeah, it's cool that he's honest, like he's upfront about it, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. And he gets a lot of hate, but the thing is, man, is half the rappers these days they're talking shit, you know, like.
Oh yeah, man.
That's why I respect him, because he came out about it, and it's like, fuck it, who cares, man? It's music at the end of the day, you know? It's like movies. You don't watch a movie and take it literal unless it's based on a true story, you know? Music's music. It's a type of art. Yes, so I sent him a beat, and that ended up being the track I Don't Give a Fuck, Slim Jesus, I Don't Give a Fuck.
Okay.
And that was kind of a test, and that was like to see if people fucked with my shit, and that was a hard trap beat. And as I kept making beats, I went more to the new wave sound, and because that's all I listened to. I listened to, like we said, like Yachty, Famous Dex, all those kind of guys, and I'm like, I want to make these kind of beats. And, so Vic Leggett, the one you just interviewed, he actually told me, he's like, Damien, I want you to start putting out your beats. And I was hesitant. I was like, nah, my shit's whack. I wasn't feeling it. Like, I was being stubborn. And Vic's like, just fucking do it. So I was like, okay. So I made the YouTube channel Thrillboy, and I started putting out free beats just to see how people react. And like within a week, my shit was like slowly blowing up, and I was getting subscribers rapidly, and I was like, fuck, like people really like it. Like all positive comments, like I didn't get any negative feedback. And
well, you've got my eyewitness testimony, man, because like, I'm not sure exactly when it was that I subscribed, but when I did, you were still putting the free beats out. And yeah, I've watched it. Like I've seen it happen. Like the subscribers have just like skyrocketed over time in just a few short months. You know what I mean, man? So you've been obviously doing something right, man.
Yeah. I've just I'm shocked, man. I listen to my shit and I'm like, this is trash. But everyone else really likes it, so I'm like, fuck, you know, why not keep going? And you know, I'm putting my shit out there now, and I've just started like a track train, and I'm not doing free beats anymore. I'm like doing leases and exclusives, and yeah, man, like I'm just taking each day as it comes. Like I'm just making beats every day and just putting them out on YouTube. And I don't know, maybe in 2 years time or a year time, you just don't know what's around the corner, you know. I stay positive, and I'm a believer that, you know, your vibes work like a magnet. You know, if you're going to be positive, positive's going to come to you. And I believe in the whole law of attraction. So that, I'm just staying positive and putting more music out. And yeah.
I guess, what's your plan going out towards the end of 2016, or what have you got sort of any plans happening for next year? What are you going to be, or what have you got going on right now? What are you up to right now?
Well, at the moment, I'm just working on my YouTube channel, putting out beats, building a foundation with that, just trying to get my name out there. I've got a few tracks with artists in America, some up and coming artists in America. They're building a buzz slowly. One of them's called Tennis Boy Will, and he's kind of popping in the New York kind of area. So he hit me up and he's like, yeah, I really like your beats, so I'm going to be doing some work with him. As you know, Vic's a very close friend of mine, and he's been there since day one with me making beats, and he's really helped me out and given me feedback and made me kind of what I'm doing today. So shout out to Vic. But yeah, I'm going to be releasing countless tracks with Vic, and me and him, we're like a team pretty much. Like, he's doing his own thing, I'm doing my own thing, but we're still kind of considered a team. Right. So yeah.
You were pumping out videos on your YouTube channel sort of pretty frequently. Like, how often do you make beats?
Oh man, to be quite honest with you, I make beats every day. I spend hours, man. Every bit of free time that I get is me researching about music, me learning piano stuff, me making beats. It's literally my life, man. Like, that's pretty much my process. I just sit down, make beats, put it out. I'm not hesitant anymore. Like, I take risks. Like, if people are going to think it's whack, they find it trash. If people like it, they like it. You know, I believe the more you put yourself out there, all it takes, man, is that one time that you get lucky and someone's like, hey, I really fuck with this beat, and they're a big artist, and you know, that can be your start. I've eliminated all fear, man. I'm just doing whatever now. I'm just like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going hard. I don't care what I put out. And I want my reputation, and I want artists to see this guy's hungry, you know. He's got a big work ethic. He's got a good work ethic, because that's what I believe about myself. I believe I am hungry, and I believe I do have a good work ethic.
You know, there's 10 million billion fucking bedroom producers out there, man, and so many of them will never sort of even get to the level that you're starting to reach now, man. Like, so many of them are never gonna get that far. Like, what do you think is the sort of number one thing that is holding like these people back? Like, if you could give some advice to like newer producers, what advice would you give them?
Man, it's fear. Let go of fear. Don't give a fuck what people think. Don't give a fuck what people say. Like, honestly, man, like, I only listen to my shit and think it's trash because I'm a perfectionist. Like, I like things perfect, so I'm never happy. But at the same time, like, if you're listening to your shit and it's actually trash, then it most likely is trash. And if you're listening to your beats and it's good, then it's good. Like, don't hold back. Don't give a fuck what people think. Like, I think the fear a lot of producers have is they spend too much time on a beat. And the thing is what I've noticed is simplicity's the key, man. If you listen to all my beats, they're simple. It's kept very simple. Some people might say, you could have added this, you could have added that. But at the end of the day, man, like, if something goes hard, it goes hard, simple or not. Yeah. Most of these artists that you hear on beats these days, it's simple. So my advice is, man, just to let go, not give a fuck, and be you know. Like, don't care what people say or think about you. Do what makes you happy. And that's what I think is the biggest mistake that some producers do, is they spend too much time on shit. They're too perfect. They need everything to be perfect. But man, music's music. You got to let it go sometime. Like I've said, I've still got a long way to come, and I'm still very new to the music industry compared to the guys who have you know, spent pretty much their life in this stuff, and I respect that. And I'm always open ears to hear people who have experience in this shit and say, look, Damien, I would say I would do this, or like, you're wrong with this. And I'm not a stubborn person, and I'm not an arrogant person. Like, I don't have ideas and I'm like, no, I'm right. Like, I'm very open to hear people's feedback and what they have to say. And that's why I think I've progressed fast with beats, is because I've listened to people say, hey Damien, maybe do this next time, or Damien, change this, and to be honest, man, I'm probably still going to hear that as I'm progressing as a producer. But I think listening's a key to getting far in this stuff. Is the minute you become closed off and